Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the head apostles and as well as including the bishops under them which taught me this truth. And as well as Shalom to 144,000, Yahweh Shai, Shai, Brakatham, and including the 1/3. Overall, a household of the elect, which makes up all of the brethren, especially the brothers that are pushing this truth, and including the sisters that do follow, and including men that can't further the ministry, but, follow us in the same. So what I want to get into is this news as well, which is a week old. I didn't really manage to, get into this last week. And I just want to get into it in reading this over here. The wail of death, chilling moment, nuke incoming, siren sounds, and school kids wear gas masks and war drills as Putin readies Russians for World War III. Sirens blast out across Russia today and children don gas masks as a part of a terrifying drill for an incoming nuclear attack. The eerie sirens could be heard across the country, and chilling messages were broadcast live as Putin forces citizens to endure a World War III drill. The chilling footage shows school children being taught how to correctly don gas masks as Putin forces citizens to endure. I don't have to read that. So the chilling footage even shows school children being taught how to correctly don gas masks. Sirens and loudspeakers were sounded in all the regions across Russia. 11 time zones and drills that spawned 2 days. And it was Russia's first nationwide civil defense exercise as Putin indoctrinates his people about the danger of the West triggering nuclear war. A message sounded declaring attention everyone as a bone-chilling alarm bellowed out in cities and towns everywhere. Doesn't it read that in the book of Amos, 3 and 6, where it says, if there be evil in the cities, have the Lord have not done it? And it mentions something about the alarm, right? And, just to speak on this article just a little bit, and then I'm going to get to the scriptures. This is actually proof that the time is coming that there is going to be a nuclear war. Now, once again, I'm going to say this. Yahweh Shai to tell his disciples, because his disciples inquired when was the end going to come. And, he elaborated to them what was going to be. And, one of the things he mentioned is you're going to hear wars and rumors of wars. But the end is not yet. Just like I mentioned in my last video, because there's going to be a couple of things that have to fall into play, prophecies, before this third woe happens physically, right? But just to say again, this is very, very telling that we're close. We are very close to seeing the destruction, which is prophesied in the Bible, the greatest destruction that no one has ever seen before. Like this world is going to end in the most greatest majestic fashion. It's going to be more dramatizing than the Hollywood film. All right, like this is something that we've been preaching about for years, beginning with our heads about the severe destruction of this world in totality, man. And how you know that we're real close to this is the fact that he's basically conditioning his people, and as well as even children, to the point of an indoctrination, as I just read to you, that he's indoctrinating the people and as well as the children, as it reads, to believe that it's going to be a threat being brought upon them from the West. All right, which is the truth. Which is the truth, okay? Because this war, like I said, is going to be fought between two Edomites. They were both born with the sword because they're all Edomites anyway, and by the sword they're going to be out of here, man. Let me read this as well. This is from the Express.co UK. Putin's nuclear plot. Russians prepare for nationwide drill as despot urged to test the bomb. The first of their nationwide drill comes as Vladimir Putin propagandist warns of nuclear war between the West and Russia. Russia is set to hold nationwide nuclear drills today on the 3rd in preparation for the danger of armed conflicts involving nuclear powers. Vladimir Putin orders a huge drill due to the growing danger of armed conflicts, including with nuclear-capable powers near Russia's border. According to the Baza Telegram channel, which has linked to Russia's security services or service, this is the first time nationwide drills have been held, though they have been similar smaller drills in Pacific regions. The exercise will enact the martial law under the narrative of up to 70% of housing in the country being destroyed. It will also imagine there's a possible widespread of radioactive contamination. After a general mobilization ended, leaders across Russia, including from civil defense leaders to heads of state corporations, will take part in the drill in the occupied Ukrainian region of Donetsk, Luhansk, and Zubzubia. I don't even know if I said that right, man. That's a tongue twister for me. And cursing will be exempt. So yeah, that's that. That's all I'm going to read from there. Now we're going to get some precepts. Because in the book of Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50, beginning in verse 9, as this reads, let me see what I can do. I might can go up a little bit. Yeah, let's begin by reading verse 8. Jeremiah 50 and verse 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goat before the flock. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken, and their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain. You know, I believe that there was a film that was done some years back, and it showed, and I put it on post-production, Lord willing, because I don't know the name of the film. The thought of the film just came to me. And it showed in the film that Russia was invading America. All right, so what's going to happen, according to prophecy, is that Russia is going to be the one invading America. But what they're doing is they're preparing that maybe one day the West may do something silly and may try to invade them with missiles. Okay, but we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. But we definitely do know that Russia is going to be the one invading America, because America or some Western ally of America is going to do something, or maybe it's going to be America itself. Okay, because we also do know that even the allies of America, they're not going to be rocking with America and all the way through. Okay, there's definitely gonna come a time and a place where the allies of America are gonna back down. Something is gonna give among the allies of America to back away from America, and as well as just to even include this as well. I remember I was reading another article too, where it was saying, and I think it was from the Guardian, but the Guardian brought out that if Trump comes back into office again, he's going to renounce end the relationship that the U.S. had with the EU. Okay, so automatically that's gonna then force the EU to side with the enemy, as well as one of them has done so. Germany has been getting a lot of their oil from Russia. Okay, and probably others too. So Donald Trump had an issue with that. That's why he was getting at the chief of NATO. I believe it was the chief of NATO or the chief of the EU. I believe it was the chief of NATO. Okay. Matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this instead. Let me go and check to see if I'm right. Instead of me guessing. Chief of NATO, right? Yeah, I'm right. Jens Stoltenberg, his name was. Yeah, so I remember just going into that article, and it was years ago actually. It was about, I think, around what, 2019. It's about three and a half, 4 years ago, and they had a video in that article, and it showed the disappointment concerning Trump, because Trump was basically, doing his part, and he felt like NATO wasn't doing their part. The rest of the team, which is a part of NATO, which really, is just nothing more than the EU being in conjunction with America anyway. Hence, it's called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So, yeah, let's get back to this, man. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations, which is mentioned in the book of Ezekiel 38, from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken, and their arrow shall be as a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain. And you can read further more about the arrows in the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter. So when the time comes, like I said, the allies of America are going to back away from America for whatever it's going to give for that to happen. And then eventually America is going to be by themselves, standing alone in this war. And America is going to be obliterated, and Russia is going to be doing more of the damage to America. All right, and as well as it's going to invade it too, as I just read. And also in verse 10, and Chaldea shall be a spoil, and all that spoiler shall be satisfied, save the Lord. So Jeremiah is envisioning, O daughter of Babylon. He might have not understood the vision in totality of what he was seeing, because he was probably thinking about the Babylon that he was in, but really in all reality, he's referring to the one that we are now in currently. All right. Verse 11, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye were grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellows as the bulls. And this is how you also know that this is talking about America, because, I mean, as you can tell by the sound of my voice, I was born, raised in America, and now I live in the UK. And one of the things that I've observed about America, especially when you live down south, what you see these roads, and I mean, these roads are super wide. Okay, the roads in America just wide, very wide, especially when you're down south. I mean, I got family from like up north, so I might not have that much of a southern slang, because I got a lot of family members on my father's side that were, coming from the New Jersey side of things. So that's why, I got more of a New Jersey, New York kind of, sort of accent. You know what I mean? But I did grow up in Florida. And I do remember the roads were just huge. The highways are huge. And America, I mean, especially, again, down south, all around America, really. I mean, everything's there. It's nothing that America doesn't have, but it has. If a certain country don't have it, they got it. So America has what? Grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellows as bulls. Okay, America is the biggest consumed nation on the face of the earth. It's so fat that it makes some other nations fat. Like it mentions in the book of Revelations, the 18th chapter, how the nations have lived deliciously with her by trading and like selling products to America. You got nations that have moved down there to start a business down there, hoping that it was going to be successful. And half of them did become very successful, and primarily even the nations such as China, the Moabites, they've become greatly successful because they've been doing business with America, selling their products over there. Okay. Verse 12, your mother shall be sore confounded. The mother here is Britain. And she that bare you shall be ashamed. And behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. And the term hindermost just means the last part of the earth, which is all the way into the western hemisphere. And in this case, this prophecy, we already know is talking about America. All right? Because America's become fat. It's become rich. Okay? As I've explained. So now, let's just look up the word hindermost anyway. The word hindermost, which is, if I'm correct, aha rataza, aha raf. No, excuse me. It's akha rayaf. Akha rayaf. If I'm correct on that. So it means after part, end issue, event, latter times, yes. So it just means the last. So the last part of the earth. When you go to the latter part of the earth, what are you going to see? You're going to see North America, and as well as you're going to see Canada and those other areas. But primarily, it's talking about America. North America, to be exact. So yeah, there you go. So this reads, because of the wrath of the Lord, Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. And everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourself in array against Babylon round about, and all ye that bend the bow. In other words, all those that have access to those weapons of mass destruction, the nuclear missiles. Shoot at her and spend no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord, and as well as their allies are going to do the same thing. In the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, it says that these shall hate the whore, and shall burn her on, and shall eat her on fire, and shall eat her with fire. Okay, let me actually pull that out. Let's read that anyway. Revelations, 17 and verse, I think it's 14, man. Let's go check it out. Let's just go there anyway and see. Yeah, this is it right here. I said it wrong. I was almost right. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. So how are they going to burn her with fire? By shooting those missiles at her. That's how she's going to be eaten. Going back to Jeremiah, what is it? Verse 13, I think I was at. Let me close this. Yeah, so this reads, because of the wrath of the Lord, Yahweh shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate, and everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, and all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, and spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. And shout against her round about, and she hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh to take vengeance upon her, and she hath done do unto her, as it is written in the book of Revelations 18 including. Let's pull that out. Do unto her double according to her works. So yeah, let's this is it right here. Revelations 18 and 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her. What is it? Excuse me. Let me read that again. I'm a bit excited. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. So the destruction is going to be extravagant. The destruction is going to be heavy on America. as it is also written. Let me see if I can pull this out as well. Isaiah. Let me see. Now let me do this because I don't know to be exact. Heavy. Yeah, let me just type that in and see what happens. Yeah. Isaiah 24 and verse 20. The earth shall roll to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. And the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. So if the transgressions are going to be heavy, which it is today, right? There's nothing more than a world of iniquity we are under right now. Then guess what? The destruction is going to be just as great, and if not greater, because like I just read to you, the Lord is going to judge her double according to what she has done. The her that I'm talking about is the great whore, which is also known as old daughter of Babylon, which is America, which will be preordained to be destroyed. Going back to Jeremiah 50, and that's why those Russians, they're getting themselves ready and prepared for that time and that season. Because anything at any stage or in this stage could happen. So now let's read verse 16 as well. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear and of the oppressing sword, which is America, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. You're going to have other nations leaving America, as you've probably already had already, going back to their own country. Because America is looking like the enemy, and as well as America promised a bunch of great nothings to these nations. These nations thought that America was the city of prosperity. Come to find out, they weren't going nowhere with their life. So they had to get the going, and now they left it. All right. And also, just to go back to what I was saying, America's looking real crazy out here as the enemy now. So that's why every nation is fleeing back to their own people out of America. And as a matter of fact, everybody's talking shit about America too. All right. So that's pretty much all I got to read from there, man. That's going into something else. That's going into that history. Yeah, so that's all I got to bring out on that. And since that I've read that as well, I want to bring this out too. This is from the Natural News, which this guy brings out a lot of good stuff, and he also runs this website called Brighteon. I forgot the guy's name, man, but he brings a lot of good information out. This reads on thenaturalnews.com. Putin warns that when Russia nukes America, there is no chance of survival, and there will be no single enemy left. The Russians are feverishly preparing to fight a nuclear war. Feverishly preparing to fight a nuclear war, but our leaders continue to insist that the nuclear war is not a threat because the Russians would never use their nuclear weapons against us, no matter how much we may provoke them. In fact, I was just reading an article of the official NATO website that was authored by a former U.S. defense official, in which he openly admitted that he is assuming that the war in Ukraine will end without Russian nuclear use. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin continues to make public statements about nuking America. This week, he told the entire world that there will be no chance of survival once he launches his nuclear missiles at us. All right. And why is this the case? Because everything that America is doing to poke the bear is all alluding to the grand prophecy, one of the grand prophecies, which is the destruction of America, which is known as Babylon the Great, which will take place during the third wall. okay, which were already in the third world. But what I'm saying is this is what's going to happen in the third world, where the missiles are going to start flying and they're all going to lead to the direction where it needs to lead to. And that's going to be America. And after this all said and done, it ain't going to be no more America. And it's going to be worse than just Putin shooting missiles. Their own allies are going to shoot missiles at her, as I just showed you in the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter. All right. So this is a prophecy. What Vladimir Putin just said was a prophecy. There ain't going to be no America. Once they let off those missiles, it's over and out for the Great Horde. It's all over. All right. Now let's even read this. Let's go up a couple of verses here. And the reason why all of this is happening as well, which I forgot to even mention, is because the Lord has a controversy of Zion for the wrongs that these nations have done unto his people, have touched the apple of his eyes. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion, and the streams thereof shall be turned into a pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become a burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever, as well as what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord said he's going to destroy this Babylon as he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. When Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, it was pelted by those brimstones, and then the smoke was going up. So when the missiles hit ground zero, just like those brimstones hit ground zero on Sodom and Gomorrah, the smoke is going to be ongoing for a very long time. And this is what this is saying. From generation to generation, it shall lie waste, and none shall pass through it forever and ever. So now it also mentions that even the animals, the desert creatures, are going to be there to possess it. But the cormorant, which is a bird, and the bittern, which is another bird, I believe, shall possess it. And the owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. And they shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all their princes shall be nothing. So it ain't going to be nothing there. Oh, let's read verse 13. And the thorns shall come up in their palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be in the habitation of dragons and the court of owls. So that's what's going to be left. It's just going to be a desert left with desert creatures. And it will be a memorial to show the new world that they got destroyed because of this. Just like, for example, when the Lord made an example of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was the example of how not to conduct oneself. And America's going to be Sodom and Gomorrah number 2 for the new world. All right, which is going to be established, beginning with the New Jerusalem, and as well as letting these other nations know the deal too on that. So yeah, with that, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, HaKodash, which is the Holy Spirit. And once again, giving blessings to the 144,000, Yahweh Bahashem Shai Brakathum, and as well as the 1/3, including the women and as well as the children, and even some of the men that can't further this ministry with us, due to their situations. I'm out. Shalom.